When I think about Preston Sturges, the word that comes to mind is inventive. And actually, he started out as somewhat of an inventor. He worked for his mother's cosmetics company when he was young and helped to invent a kiss-proof lipstick. And then when he went to Hollywood after writing stage plays, he started to write screenplays that were very inventive. They pushed the narrative form, and they were very experimental in how he was able to tackle various themes and genres and mixed tones. But by the end of the 1930s, Preston Sturges was tired of having his work changed by directors. He wanted more creative control, and so he ended up becoming one of the first writer-directors in the studio system. Paramount gave him the opportunity to start directing his own screenplays, and he was very particular in his direction that the actors should follow his screenplays to the letter. He wanted the writing to really lead the charge, but you can see that he was inventive in his filmmaking style as well. He also was able to mix comedy with social messages. His first film as a writer-director was The Great McGinty, which was a comedy also about political corruption. And then he made the huge crowd pleaser, The Lady Eve, followed by Sullivan's Travels, which was about social injustice and poverty, but also very funny and a satire about Hollywood at the same time. After that success, Paramount was happy to let him do pretty much whatever he wanted, and he was trying to figure out what he could come up with to follow on the success of The Lady Eve and Sullivan's Travels. So he started to write an original screenplay, which he titled Is Marriage Necessary? But the Hollywood censors would never approve that, so he changed it to Is It Bad? And later on, The Palm Beach Story. He wanted to create a comedy that would not only poke fun at the rich, as he often liked to do, but also poke fun on what he called the aristocracy of beauty, that women who were beautiful could get away with anything they wanted. In this film, Claudette Colbert plays Gerry. She is a beautiful wife of Tom, played by Joel McCrea, who joined Preston Sturges once again after Sullivan's Travels. Tom is an inventor, and he's come up with this idea for an airport, basically that you would land a plane on top of a city on mesh.
You see, it's strong and safe. It's simple and practical. It lets the light and air through, and it's practically invisible from below. And it's built right in the middle of the city instead of way out in the sticks somewhere. Excuse me a moment.
Sounds like a crazy idea. He needs a lot of money for it. So Gerry has a great idea of getting money for him and to get them out of their penniless existence, that they will get divorced and she will marry a millionaire. So she sets off to do just that. This was sort of a harken back to screwball comedies of the 1930s and might remind you a little bit of Ernst Lubitsch's work in that it's a very sophisticated comedy, but one that makes fun of relationships. It also has Mary Astor in the cast and Rudy Vallee, who was known as a singer, but Preston Sturges, once again being very inventive, he saw that Rudy Vallee could be a great comedic talent and not just a singer.
Is this yours?
Oh, yes. Actually, it was my grandfather's, but he didn't like it. He only used it once. This was his hat. Do you happen to remember how much tip I gave the taxi driver?
Well, I didn't see the coin, but from his face, I think it was 10 cents.
Tipping is un-American.
The Palm Beach Story came out in 1942 when the world was at war, and Preston Sturges thought that the country needed a laugh. He wanted to give them escapist entertainment. So in a similar way to the screwball comedies of the 1930s, giving audiences of the Great Depression a chance to laugh and a chance to enter into a very opulent world, that's exactly what he did with the Palm Beach Story. The world was at war, but in this film you have beautiful lavish sets, you have gorgeous glamorous costumes worn by Claudette Colbert, and just the sparkling comedy of Colbert and McCrea. Joel McCrea after this would make The More the Merrier, but then he would go on to be more known for westerns, whereas Claudette Colbert consistently showed her aptitude for comedy. She could also do drama as well, but it's so much fun to see her here as Gerry, taking advantage of her beauty to help her get ahead in life. Preston Sturges was just so inventive as a director. I think it took a little while for film critics to appreciate his filmmaking style, his visual style, as well as his writing. But the two together just, it can't be beaten. I think every time I see the Palm Beach Story, it just makes me smile. Particularly, not giving anything away, but the way that it is bookended with a very surprising wedding.